Oh, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August 3rd, 2025 Planning, Economic Development and Housing Virtual Committee Meeting. The committee meeting can be viewed on HPA-TV, Comcast Frontier Government Channel 96 and 6032. The meeting is also streamed via hpa-tv.org and also on several TV apps, Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon TV, and also HPA TV Facebook. The virtual committee meeting will also be rebroadcast and made available on HPA TV YouTube channel. So again, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am going to call the meeting to order and introduce our committee members who are here with us. I am Phil Surgeon, the Council President, also co-chair of the Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee. We have with us a voting committee member, Majority Leader Marilyn Rossetti. We also have voting member with us, Councilman Josh Mitchum. And as we have other council members join us, I will let you know who's here with us. Um, Also, I'm not sure if we have our attorney here or not this evening, but we will.
Attorney Vassallo is here.
You're on the phone, Attorney Fasalo. I didn't
That's
know that. Oh,
yes. Yeah.
perfect.
Well, I'm not
Perfect.
actually at work this week, so yes.
Oh, well, thank you so very much for doing a little bit of overtime then.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So we do have the attorney for the Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee, Attorney Vassallo. We also have with us our, uh, not, I wouldn't say, it's no longer acting William, right? So you are the, what is it, Director of
No, I'm the Assistant Director of
Assistant.
Economic Development. There you go.
Thank you, William, for Assistant Director of Economic Development. You know, one of these high people within the Development Service Department. And so we're going to get started. We have several items on the agenda this evening. The first item, item 2.1, glasses. It is a resolution by Councilman Amilcar Hernandez, Councilwoman Shirley Surgeon, Council President, Majority Leader Marilyn Rossetti, Councilman Mali Rosado, Assistant Majority Leader Thomas Clark, Councilman Alex Thomas, Minority Leader. And that resolution speaks to directing the Department of Public Works to evaluate and reconfigure bike lanes to support small businesses' viability and multimodal safety. Speaking with Councilwoman Rosado, who has a task force going on right now, and she would like that item to be postponed. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to postpone item 2.1.
Thank
And
you.
I would second that motion.
Motion's been properly made and second. We also is joined by the other co-chair of the Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee, Councilman John Gale. So
my
motion
apologies, Chair. I was just on the phone with Councilwoman Rosado, getting
okay.
instructions from her to postpone this matter. So
Okay, right.
Deemed it was completely unnecessary.
Completely unnecessary, because she had texted me earlier. I'm glad, if I didn't remember, I'm glad she also told you also. So the motion's been properly made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none or hearing none? All those in favor of postponing item 2.1? Those in favor of postponing item 2.1?
Aye.
Aye. All right. No opposition, no abstention. The item is postponed. Item 2.1 following the committee meeting. The following item we'll take up now, and that is the resolution from Mayor Arulampalam authorizing the sale of 2-214-216 Martha Street. There was a public hearing held on June 16 of 2025 at 7 p.m. And I do hope we also have the 824 review. Who is going to be speaking on that? Acting Director.
President, that'll be me, William Diaz, Assistant Director, Economic Development. This is pretty cut and dry. This is a vacant blighted property that the city acquired back in December 2023. Cheryl Thompson, a former Hartford resident, drove by the property, started asking questions. So she reached out to a minority contractor, Still Peter Home Improvements LLC, and they made a request to purchase the property from the city of Hartford in the amount of $30,000. They estimate that they're going to have to put at least $350,000 to renovate the property. It's a three family house. We spoke previously, and we have a term sheet that I resent this morning to all council members, people of the committee. This is probably the first transfer of a structure that's not going to a major developer, just going to a public, a smaller entity. So we just want to be sure that the city's needs are being met. So the revised term sheet includes three different clauses. It has the revesting title in the city. So when we transfer the property, if the renovations are not done in accordance to the timeline that we have set forth, the city has the ability to retake the property. Provision against transfer of the property. This is another clause that we put into the term sheet. Basically, since the developer is acquiring the property from the city at a rate that's lower than the fair market value, we don't want them. They don't have the ability to buy it from us for $30,000 and then turn around and sell it before they make the renovations. And finally, and probably most important, we put a restriction covenants where after the renovations are done with the property, the buyer of the property would have to stay in the property for at least 5 years. So we want, we're looking to build home ownership throughout the city of Hartford. And they won't be able to sell the price without written approval from the city of Hartford. And if the city does decide down the line to allow the sale, then the entity would have to pay back to the city the difference between the fair market value, which right now is around 108,000, and the purchase price of 30,000. So I know I'm not sure if is Cheryl Thompson on the line?
Yep, I'm
Yep.
on the line. You'll
Okay.
see my daughter's name, Soleil Vernon, but I'm Cheryl.
Okay. Yeah, I want to introduce Cheryl. And do you have the contractor with you?
I do. I know that he's on a site right now. He was trying to log in. He was having a little bit of some connection issues. So, but he was planning on joining the call.
Okay, so, yeah, I don't want to introduce you to the city council members, council president, and if they have any specific questions for you at the moment, go ahead.
Just want to also say, Mr. Diaz, that we also have the Director of Economic Development, Mr. Walker, has also joined us.
Oh, you joined? Okay.
Yes, sir. Questions from the committee members? Well, since I don't see any hands up, let me say that got a couple of questions. So, William, so basically, Ms. Thomas?
Thompson.
Thompson, good. You do understand that, our policy for the city is that we are looking for not investors, but more people who want to own their home and want to live in the city. In conjunction with that, you were driving by and you saw this, this blighted property. So thank you for your, participation in our rebuilding of Hartford. That's the first thing I need to say.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm a Hartford resident. I grew up off of Blue Hills Avenue on Holcomb Street, And so all of my teenage years, I grew up in Hartford. I work for within the insurance industry. My background is insurance. I work at Travelers. Currently I live in Bloomfield, but in driving around the Hartford community right now, I do see quite a bit of properties that are like little, needs to a little bit of an eyesore, right? And so, as I'm pretty sure, like everyone else, they've been seeing some developers from other states, come into the community to wanting to purchase properties and resell, or even, jack up, like rent, right, for individuals. And so I thought to myself, it might be a great opportunity to take advantage of this property, purchase this home and to renovate it, to possibly sell it to a first-time buyer, someone within the greater Hartford area that will live in the home, have, be a landlord, and to possibly rent to residents of the Hartford area so we can continue to build up the community.
That's awesome. And William, I'm sure do you know the developer? Does he
Yeah.
have?
Yes, I do know the developer. He's done quite a bit of projects within the greater Hartford area for many, many years. And so we've been talking about, projections for this particular project to partner together if the opportunity became available.
Yeah, so I know I have a list of projects that they've worked on. 144 Branford Street, that was a full rehab demo. 67 Atlantic Street, 28 Hartford Road. I don't think that's in Hartford, but and then he's done other those are demo jobs. He's done a lot of in sheetrocking, doors, painting, rehab kitchens, bathrooms, and things of that nature.
The developer's name, Mr. Diaz?
Well, the contractor, Amstel Peter Home Improvement.
Mhm.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
Sorry, Ansem, Anselm, Peter Home Improvement.
Thank you. I saw Councilman Gail, did I see your hands raised?
I did, Madam Chair, but I think Mr. Diaz kind of answered my question. I was going to ask what the experience was of the proposed developer, but let me ask Ms. Thompson, is this sort of the first project, Ms. Thompson, that you've engaged in? Is this your first development project, so to speak?
Actually, no. So I've been a part of some remodeling of renovations of homes it's been some years now, for about a good
Yeah.
maybe 5 to 6 years, but I've kind of partnered from a financial perspective and assisted with purchasing homes to rebuild and to resell.
Well, good luck with this. I hope I share Council President's comments. I think we all hope that you're infinitely successful and you'll take on other blighted properties in Hartford, and you can assist us in making the city ultimately livable. So thank
Well,
you.
my goal is from a relationship perspective that this would be a starting point, right? And so, I encourage everyone to take a look at the progression of the project. So when it's completed, right, more longer term, I'd like to kind of be involved if the opportunity with other prospective developments to rebuild.
Well, you've got to satisfy Mr. Diaz over there. So you keep
We
Mr.
have to set it-
Diaz happy, and you'll be the benefactor of other projects, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, great. That's
Council
wonderful.
President,
Yes, Majority Leader
if
Rosetta.
I may address, it is a beautiful property. I mean, structurally, it is a really beautiful property. So I'll be following it along. I know it might have been said by either you or Mr. Diaz. What's the timeline on this again? About?
So I can jump in. I
Go
can
ahead.
jump in. So we're kind of estimating about 3 months.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, Council President.
Oh, wow. Okay, so right after the the winter, we'll have our, groundbreaking. Right
Yes.
around, right around that time, right? Yeah. Um,
And we do
now,
encourage, I do encourage everyone to drive along the property as it's being renovated so you can kind of see for yourself the improvements.
yeah, we will. I can tell you that right away. We will.
Mhm.
You know, and once it's all renovated, you know, you put it up for sale.
Mhm.
How are you, you know, don't know what uh the going rate is right now for, you know, for newly renovated, you know, 3-family. Is the price going to be reasonable, you know, for someone to buy the property?
Absolutely, because I've been taking a look at the market value in terms of similar homes.
Mhm.
And definitely I want to kind of keep it to a fair price. I'm not one to price gouge, so I'll definitely want to keep it put in a fair offer
Great.
on the
And
market.
right, you know, we do have, if you talk to Mr. Diaz, our housing department,
Hmm.
you know, Mr. Diaz can give you the contact information where for first-time home buyers, you
Hmm.
know, there is a program that help with down payment.
Hmm.
So, you know, you should actually, you know, get some more information, you know, when you're getting ready to, um, you know, sell the property to a homeowner.
Absolutely. I definitely would want to kind of partner with Mr. Diaz. I know I've been proactively kind of having some conversations with a real estate agent just to kind of think through, potential options for first-time buyers that are interested, kind of looking for multifamily. So,
Yeah. And I think Mr. Diaz and or Mr. Walker, correct me, but I think first-time home buyer can get a grant for up to, is it up to 40,000?
If they're
Um,
Hartford.
I know they just implemented a employee program for 40,000, but I'm not sure if that dollar amount is. I know there is a first time home buyer program, but I'm not sure if that's the
Yeah, that's in
same.
the housing department. Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
So, yeah,
But
but you know,
I can definitely get that contact information and we can make the connections and talk with our housing director about this opportunity.
okay,
perfect. Thank you. Mhm.
you. Is there any more questions, comment? Seeing or hearing no more question, comment, I am open for a motion.
Make a motion to send back favorably to agenda item
2.2.
2.2 to City Council.
Second. I'm the
Second.
contractor. I don't know if I log in. I just finally get to log in, so I don't know if I'm too late
And
on
who's,
this Anselm Peter, the contractor.
oh, well, Mrs. Thompson did a really good job in
Yeah.
explaining where she wanted, what she intended was to do. And
Okay.
Ms. Diaz also, you know, told us that you have done several renovations within the city of Hartford.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you do have that qualification on working with Mrs. Thompson, you know, to get this property, you know, back on our tax roll. So, so thank you for joining us. So right now, what you are going to be hearing is a motion is placed on the floor to send back favorably, and it's been second to sell the property for 30,000 to Mrs. Thompson.
Okay. That's great.
Great. So seeing no discussion, those in favor of sending the property, sending the resolution item 2.2 forward that back to the overall council with a favorable uh, resolution for selling the property to Ms. Thompson. Those in favor?
I
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstention? Great, seeing or hearing none, the ayes have it. Congratulations, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
We will be sending this approval back to our overall council body. I forgot what council meeting that's coming up with a favorable recommendation for the city to sell you the property.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Mhm.
Right.
Thank you.
So moving on, to 2.3. A resolution from Mayor to the Housing Authority of the City of Hartford. And I would be make sure that everyone knows that our executive director for the Housing Department, is she still here? Did she leave?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, it's
Good.
Mrs. Sen. Sorry, my
Good evening.
screen is a little bit small. Our the executive director, Annette Sanderson, is here with us. Longtime executive director, who has been with the Housing Authority. So thank you, Mrs. Sanderson, for joining us. And I'm going to turn the floor over to, I'm not sure if it's Miss. Is she here? Rashia and?
Yes. Good
Oh, there
evening,
you are,
everyone.
Rashia. Okay.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
here. It's Rashea Shand.
Rashea, I
Yes,
apologize. Not very good at people's name. So
no
my
worries.
apology. So Rashea, thank you very much for wanting to be a part of keeping our city up and going again. And the Housing Authority, the mayor recommended you to be appointed to the Housing Authority. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and why would you want to join the Housing Authority?
Yes, absolutely. Again, thank you, everyone, for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about this opportunity. A little bit of background about myself. I'm a lifelong resident of Hartford. I was born and raised here, went through the Hartford public school system, currently raising 4 children in the city of Hartford. Yes, so I've been here for a while. I was actually one of the first people in my family to purchase a home. So that was a huge accomplishment. And I know how important and valuable home ownership is important to our community. And the reason why I want to be a part of this is I wanted to serve my community in a greater capacity. And I know that there are so many different pillars to a thriving community, right? And housing is one of them. I think having stable, affordable, and safe housing for families is the foundation to a thriving community because it allows families to focus on other things like education and careers. I think back to when I was a kid growing up. We lived on the north end of Hartford, and my grandmother was fortunate she raised me and my brother, and she was fortunate to be able to buy a home on the south end. So being raised in that home and that stable community had a huge impact on my life and where I am today. And I just want to be in a position to serve my community in the same way. A little bit about my career background. So I've been invested in the Hartford community for many years. I too was at Travelers. I think Cheryl mentioned she was there. I was there for many years, serving in insurance operations. And now I have a very unique role, which I think ties directly to the work that the Housing Authority does. I'm one of the affordable lenders at Liberty Bank. So I am on the front lines helping home buyers get access to those funding that you guys are talking about. And I think it's very important, not only access, but education, because a lot of people feel like home ownership is not within reach. But there's programs out there that can help home buyers. So that's my day-to-day job. But again, I wanted to serve in a greater capacity. So I thought this would be a great fit for me.
Okay, great. Councilwoman Majority Leader Rossetti.
Thank you, Council President. First of all, I always like to say, nice to meet you, that, I thank people who take their time, give up their time to want to be on boards and commission. I know you could probably do a million other things, but also as someone who was a commissioner for 9 years, it was probably one of the most rewarding things I ever did. Annette is Director Sanderson is a leader to work with. And I know that you will be confirmed and you will just get so very much out of it. But I thank you very much for giving of your time and talents.
Yes, thank you.
Any other Councilman Gale?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Let me certainly second everything that Councilwoman Rossetti said, and thank you for stepping up to the plate. It's fascinating to me that you are in the mortgage loan business, and we would love to see you put your talents to work at the Housing Authority. One of the things that you will find out is that in the past, the Housing Authority had approved the construction of some single-family homes that were going to be sold. And that got stalled, and I know there's good reasons for it. I don't know what they are right now, but it might be something that you all can take a look at some point in time. And maybe there's a future for at some point getting those single family houses built. I think that was supposed to be over at the Bowles Park redevelopment
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
So who knows? There might be a tie in there at some point. Anyway, thank you very much for stepping forward. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
I will second everything my council colleague has said. Raising 4 children and giving back to the community is totally unbelievable. But I just want to thank you so very much for stepping up to the plate and encourage, if you know other residents who would love to participate in board and commission. The Housing Authority is one of the best housing authority, I will say. I'm not going to be prejudiced, but I would say, in the state of Connecticut. And you have a wonderful director with tons of experience of, managing the Housing Authority. And so I believe you are going to enjoy your time on the board. So again, thank you so very much for stepping up to the plate. Executive Director, would you like to say anything?
Yes. First of all, good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to join you. I apologize for not being on screen. I am not at my computer, but I am on my phone, and I'm just not in a situation to turn my screen on. But it's an honor to be here. I will tell you that I have had the opportunity to have both a phone conversation, a very good phone conversation, and a very good in-person conversation with Ms. Shand. I am very impressed with her credentials, with both personal and professional. We had a great conversation. I'm looking forward to her participation on the board. I was able to give her a copy of our board orientation policy. And I'm hopeful that it was helpful for you, Ms. Shand. But basically, we do this for all of our incoming board members. We have a great onboarding process, which basically explains the housing authority from soup to nuts. And I look forward to working with you. Thank you for your comments. Uh, um, Councilwoman Surgeon, we continue to enjoy what we're doing at the Housing Authority. We've got some more work to do. I am hopeful that we can get some of these home ownership opportunities moving soon. I will tell you, just to answer your question, Councilman Gale, yes, we're trying to create some home ownership opportunities at both Willow Creek, the former Bowles Park, as well as Village at Park River, the former Westbrook Village. I will tell you, with HUD's permission, later this year, probably early next year, we will be selling the remaining 8 units of rental housing at the former Charter Oak development. Those will be 8 more units of home ownership. We're also looking at doing some additional home ownership at the former Dutch Point, because we have some vacant land over there. We did get some pre-development funding from the state in order to look at doing some pre-development work over there. So yes, we're excited about what we can do in the future. We're excited about having a new board member. And I'm here to answer any questions that you might have of me or this process.
I don't have any questions, but I thank you very much for that update. I would also, after we do our voting, Ms. Shans, if you will stay on, I believe there is another young lady, it's a couple of resolutions further down, which we will be reappointing back to the Housing Authority. So you may want to stay and listen to that, as we go through our agenda. Seeing or hearing no other questions or comment, I am open for a motion.
I make a motion to send back agenda item. Why do I do this to myself?
That's 2.3. 2.3.
2.3, the appointment of Rashia Shan to the Housing Authority.
I second it.
That's favorable, right, Council Majority Leader Rossetti?
Yeah, I don't have the agenda up and then I go and do it and sorry.
That's okay. We know what you're saying. So I will repeat the motion, which has been properly made and second, to send back to the overall council body a favorable recommendation in appointing Rashia Shand to the Housing Authority. Any discussion? Seeing or hearing no discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstention? Seeing or hearing no opposition or abstention, the ayes have it. We will be sending back a favorable recommendation to the council to appoint Rashia Shand to the Housing Authority. Congratulations, Ms. Shands, and thank you so very much again for wanting giving back to the city that has raised you. So
Yes, yes. Thank you all, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
Told you about your executive director. She got you all ready to go. You know, that's Mrs. Sanderson. And
Yes.
Majority Leader Rossetti can testify to that. Okay, so let's move on to the next item on our agenda. And this is going to be items 2.4. And it is a resolution from Mayor Arulampalam confirming the appointment of Clarissa Beth Harida to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is Clarissa Beth here?
Hi, I am.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I've got a small screen, so I can see everyone. Okay, well, welcome. And tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be involved with the planning and zoning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So good evening. My name is Clarissa Beth Heredia, and I'm honored to be here tonight with you all, um, and showing you my interest for serving on the board of the Planning and Zoning Committee. A little bit about myself. For the past 16 years, I've actually have worked in the property management, both residential and commercial industry right here in Hartford. I was born and raised in Hartford. I went to schools in Hartford, the magnet schools, I should say, and I still reside in Hartford. So I am a long-term passionate resident of the city of Hartford. But for the last 16 years being in the real estate industry, I've had the privilege of learning a little bit more about the city and what it takes for all of us in the development side to attract residents. I've worked with people from all over the world, people from our state, outside of our state, out of the country. And as the face of the company that I work for, I take pride on telling people why they should move where I work, but then also why they should move and live in Hartford. So I do understand the challenges that we do have in the city, which is the retaining residents or turning them into homeowners, but as well as the challenges that business owners do face if either due to like COVID years and a lot of the businesses having to shut down. I'm also a business developer for the property that I work for. So I have both experiences, not only in the residential side, but also in the development side. So out of all of the committees that I'm on, I serve on the board of Covenant Prep, which is the middle school here, a private school in Hartford, as well as the committee of the Franklin Trust Bank in Hartford, as well as a member of the Hartford Police Department's organization called the Hartford Guardians. And as long with other volunteer and work that I do in the city of Hartford, I'm very passionate about showing not only the residents here why they should love and live and work in the city, but also those that are coming from outside of the city of Hartford. So when I heard about the opportunity a couple of years ago on joining one of the boards, I picked the planning and zoning because I know it's one of the pillars of the city. It is where the decisions are happening. If this school now that is vacant should become an apartment place, or if this commercial building could become a school in downtown. So my interest really in the last 3 years in the politics have sprung, which led me to become one of the members of the campaign for Arunin. And I knew I wanted to do more within the city instead of just being behind the scenes. And I know by joining the board, I will be able to bring a different perspective, a younger perspective, as well as a perspective that I'm really tapped into the city, as well as with the residents and with the business owners that we have here. And I would like the opportunity for the next 3 years to bring my expertise and gain some new knowledge as well. Like I know I will be learning with you guys along the way.
Great. I do have to make one correction on that items 2.3. I'm sorry, items 2.4, and Clarissa Bett will be an alternate on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Talk with Kristen, hopefully should be sending over another revised resolution. Because the Planning and Zoning has a 7-member board and 3 alternate members, and she will be one of the alternate board members. So I want to make sure that I've got that corrected until we have the proper paperwork. Questions, comments? Council Majority Leader Rossetti.
I'm Rossetti. She's Rosato.
I know.
Like I say to every person who's appointment, and I need to say it, I want to thank you again for giving your time, energies, talents, and efforts. And you're right, it's such an important, they're all important committees, but obviously you have a passion for it, and that always helps when someone really does, because as Ms. Shans pointed out, you know, when you have something that really goes back to what it is, that's even equally important. So I just want to thank you again, and I'm sure you will be very successful.
Thank you.
Councilman Gale.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Ms. Heredia. How do we say it?
Yeah, Heredia.
Heredia. Okay. And I certainly second everything again that Councilwoman Rossetti said. A couple of comments for you. You're joining a wonderful Planning and Zoning Commission with a lot of talented people, and you probably already know that. And I heard you say that you're looking forward to the learning experience, and I'm sure that and I'm sure it'll be mutual, because it's clear that you're bringing some talent to the table as well. But it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting body, and I heard you mention your knowledge of the challenges that business owners face, and one of the challenges that business owners face is the Planning and Zoning Commission. So you're going to be front and center making that decision as to you know, whether this business owner gets an easier time or a little bit more difficult time, and you know, figuring out who knows what they're doing and who doesn't know what they're doing, but also figuring out and this is really important, is figuring out where we as a city can be better. There's no, you know, nobody's perfect, and there's certainly no shortage of challenges. And one of the challenges, among other things, that the city has, it's both a benefit and a challenge. We have a brand new zoning code. Not brand new, it's not that new at this point, but it was a complete overhaul, which brings with it issues sometimes, because there's unintended consequences, things that you didn't think through, and so you're going to be dealing with this zoning code that's somewhat new. It's, I don't know, 5 to 8 years old at this point, and you know, I encourage you to look and see where the zoning code, and you know, it's the Planning and Zoning Commission that makes those regulations. So you and your colleagues there will have the power to change those regulations. So I encourage you, don't be timid. If you find that you know, something seems to be a roadblock for us to make something happen in the city, you know, don't be timid. Step up and propose some changes. That's a huge power. We at City Council have 34 other ordinances that we can amend. But ordinance 35, we don't amend. You do. And that's the planning and zoning regulations, which are so very important. So anyway, thank you and good luck. And we look forward to great things from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. I'm again always going to second everything my council members have talked about. One of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I do have to agree with Councilman Gale, is a very, very important commission for the city of Hartford. For example, if they make all the zoning codes, as Councilman Gale talked about, that was overall several years ago. So if I want to build a porch, I have to, do it regarding certain rules and regulations, certain zoning code, it has to be built. But one of the things I will say this is that the codes are, written as a rule to follow, but there's also the community voice that if I, on my street, and if somebody, the piece of my street is zoned for building commercial, building a plaza on it, and I don't want to see that happen because it's going to disturb, my livelihood and the livelihood of the residents on the street. But the zoning law, code says you can build a plaza there. One of the things I will ask is, for you to take in consideration the community voice, and how and what they would like to see built in their community. And as Councilman Gale previously stated, zonings can be changed, and all depends on how you interpret it. And you've got some great attorneys and some great members of the commission who have got long years of experience in being in the commission. So I believe you will have an opportunity to learn a lot as an alternate, a member, so that is great. But I would really, really ask, when you're making decisions, you take in consideration the community voice. If it says, red is red and, you can't change it, there's ways of changing codes. As Councilman Gale said, you have the power and the commission has the power to do so. And one of the things that's been disappointing over the years, is community voice is not listened to of what they would like to see built in their neighborhood. So I would ask you to consider that as you're making decisions going forward, in the building of our city.
I will.
Thank you. And I really enjoy your enthusiasm, and I'd love to get more young people, to involve in boards and commission in the city. So thank you so very much for stepping up to the plate.
Thank you.
I am open to a motion.
I don't dare.
It's item 2.4.
I'll let Councilman
I
Gale.
move
All
that we
right, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion. Move this item. See, all you have to say is this item. I make a motion to move this
Oh,
item back to
I feel
council
like I need to
with a
have the
favorable
number.
recommendation.
I second it.
The motion has been made and doubly second. Is properly made and doubly second. Thank you. The motion is to send back to the overall council favorable recommendation in appointing Clarissa Bett, Aridia to the Planning and Zoning as an alternate member. Gonna make sure we fix that before the next council meeting. Any discussions? Seeing or hearing any discussions? Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Any opposition? Any abstention? Seeing or hearing none? Congratulations. We'll be sending back favorable to the overall council to appoint you as an alternate member to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you.
Great. So one last item on the agenda. And that's items 2.5. And it is a resolution from Mayor Arulampalam confirming the reappointment of Patricia Patty Lashane to the Hartford Housing Authority? Miss LaShane, Mrs. LaShane, are you? Oh, yeah, there you are.
Good evening. I popped back
Hey,
in.
you're back, and so you have been with the Housing Authority for a couple of years. And
5.
5. Wow, time flies. I remember when we did it in the council chambers.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, great. So, thank you again for re-upping. And there is a new member who will be joining you, so you want to talk a little bit about, your 4 or 5 years on the authority and going forward, hopefully get more homeownership accomplished in the next couple of years.
Correct. Well, first of all, thank you. I missed my first appointment. I was out of town, so I apologize for that. But I noticed no one held it against me because I am a talker. So basically, a little bit about myself for those that don't know me. I am a resident of Hartford for 28 years. I early in my career started out in Hartford at the Goodwin Estates as a 4-H agent for the Cooperative Extension Service and spent a good deal of my time on Vine Street with a number of the youth programs that were going on at the time, including the first double Dutch team that won the national championship. So I go way back.
Yes.
After I left the 4-H, I was recruited to work for the Easter Seal Society and spent a number of years working on issues to support persons with disabilities and found myself kind of drawn into the state capitol, where I've spent the last 40 years advocating for a variety of professional associations, small businesses, large businesses, nonprofits, and the like as a lobbyist for state and local issues. Also along the way, my partner and I started a strategic communications crisis management company. And we currently still run that in Hartford and spend a good deal of time being involved in a bunch of different organizations. Somehow I made the mistake of telling a former mayor that I couldn't understand why it was so hard to run a parking authority. You pay for your car, you get out, you get back in, and you leave.
Yeah.
Well, he happened to nominate me, so I served 11 years on the Hartford Parking Authority, 5 of them as the chairwoman, and I found out how difficult it is to park a car, and not for the city's fault, but just the logistics of getting it done. Had a great time. I got a little reprieve and a vacation until somebody who I won't mention decided they were going to leave the parking or the housing authority and that I would make an ideal candidate. And I said yes. So that's how I actually got to the housing authority. But I did it because I really liked the concept of a group of unlike people getting together and having to focus on a mission. And I think, as some people have said, Annette Sanderson is great at vision and focus and execution. And so it's a dream, Ms. Sands, to join there because she gets it done internally, while the 5 commissioners do a lot of different responsibilities. We're the fiscal accountability for the authority. The decisions get made at the staff level according to policies and procedures, but at the end of the day, we're there to ensure that the agency is run appropriately and being accountable as it should. We also are involved in the governance of it. And very often the executive director comes to us with different issues and concerns about what's going on in the agency and how best to work with the issues and the like. So we're an advisor to her and to some of her senior staff. And we also are learning to be strategic. I think, like yourself, we all came there with 0 experience. And we learned quickly through some of the education programs that are on our agenda, how it actually works, how the mechanics work. And I think that, was due to Annette's desire to make sure we knew how the trains ran. And in doing that, I think we become better commissioners. In my time frame, I joined in January of 2020, which was 2 months before COVID. So the first 2 years of the tenure was trying to figure out COVID and help Annette and her team do the best they could, given that we're running a housing program where people are intimately close to each other. And I think, the authority and others like us deserve kudos for that, because it was a very challenging time for the staff and they came through really well. I think looking forward, the challenges that we see, we have a very old portfolio of real estate. There's been tremendous work in redevelopment, as Annette mentioned, through her leadership and taking some very unattractive housing choices and turning them into some very attractive housing choices. And there's still more to do, as she mentioned, but it's an aging housing stock, particularly in some of the senior facilities that are there. And it's a challenge for the authority. It's a challenge given the fact that the federal funding isn't going to go up any day. And knock on wood, it hasn't been horrible yet, but that's a topic that we talk about quite often amongst the commissioners. There's also the balance of the needs of the mix of units. Very often we hear that there are more people that want a different configuration of a unit, whether we have all open 2-bedroom units, but they really need 3-bedroom units. So that's something, as we look forward into a variety of maybe new development, redevelopment, looking at how that diversification of size of or number of bedrooms in a unit changes. And then I think the other difficulty, like anybody else, is the culture change that has shifted and the new generations coming in and, wanting to work remote and wanting, if someone, they are very vocal about their needs and stuff. And to run a large agency, you have to kind of be uniform and treat everybody the same way. And so I think those are the challenges, like any other employer, and it's a fairly large staff that sometimes come to our attention because it's necessary, and Annette is always looking for input. So I can't believe I'm saying yes to 5 more years, but I am. I enjoy it. And the rest of the commissioners you're really going to like. Everybody engages in discussions. Sometimes we probably drive Annette crazier than she would like. But we're very vocal about asking questions and kind of digging into something that we can't figure out. So it'll be a great experience. And I'm thankful for the mayor's nomination and hopefully your approval.
Thank you. That was awesome. I'm really happy you talked a few all your experience in the 5 years. Selfish idea of serving on this commission. So thank you. Questions, comments? Anita Rossetti.
Well, I
Yeah.
need to say the same thing to Ms. LaChain that I've said to everyone else. First of all, I want to thank you for allowing yourself to be reappointed. And you did. You came in. I remember when you started. What a time that was to, we were all learning Zoom. We were all,
Oh,
figuring out how we were going to conduct our business, and your business, as more than a lot of others, was really the people to people business. And truly, I don't think you guys missed a beat. So I appreciate you taking the time initially, and I really appreciate you taking the time to reappoint. And I think that's what you said, to be a part of a group that is fairly different. And I think that kind of diversity brings together such great outcomes. So I thank you very much.
Right.
welcome.
Councilman Gale.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think Director Sanderson might want to say something. I
I
saw
was
her
Sure.
unmute herself.
Sure,
No, don't let her,
sure,
please.
sure,
Next.
sure,
wait,
sure.
before, let's put our comments on the table and then I'll let uh Executive Director Sanderson, after we're all finished with our questions
I-
or concern to Mrs. Lashane. If you have no comments or
No. Of course, I have a comment.
really, Councilman Gale, I didn't.
Exactly like Mrs. Lashane. I can be a talker, but
Yeah.
but we're all elected politicians here. We're all talkers, right? Um, but anyway, thank you for re-upping. Good for you. Greatly appreciate. Greatly appreciated. And thank you for bringing up. We when we had this conversation with the prior candidate, I talked about the home ownership opportunities, but we didn't really talk about the other end of it, where the housing authority has elderly housing and senior housing, and equally important, and part of the old stock that you've talked about that needs addressing. So good luck with that, and good luck for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so Executive Director Sanderson, be honest.
No.
No, I will be honest. I will
Thank
be,
you very
I
much,
will
ma'am.
be,
What was it
I will,
like over the last 5 years with Mrs. Lashane on your board?
she talks a lot. She talks so no, you know what, I've enjoyed working with Commissioner Lashane over the past 5 years. She came in full of energy and continues to have that same energy. She does ask a lot of questions, very good questions, and I'm not just saying that because she's here. It keeps us, when I say us, me and my staff, on our toes. They're thought-provoking questions. We have a bet, and so I'm revealing too much here now, right? So during our board meetings, and we have one coming up next week, when we when somebody says something, I always look, and I'm always looking at Patty, and I'm like, okay, how long is it going to take for her to ask a question? And I kind of smile at the other staff members, but no, it's been great. I will say this: I have had the honor and the privilege of serving this authority for 13 years. I talked to other executive directors across the state, across the country, and some of them complain that their boards are not active, are not interested. Um, and I've said, well, I don't have that problem. I said they're very engaged, they're very interested in knowing they're and knowing more about the housing authority. They respect the role that they play, they respect the role that I play. And I use the term blessed. I've been blessed to have a very active board, a board that will continue to challenge me, that will continue to say, hey, Annette, can we look at doing things this way, but in an appropriate fashion? And that's what we need. I would not want to be, quite honestly, I would not want to be one of those executive directors that just comes to the monthly, that only sees and talks to her board members at the monthly board meeting. And then you sit there, you give a presentation, and nobody asks any questions. I mean, I don't think that moves the needle at all. It's good to have people that are engaged, that are active. And Commissioner Lashane, I want to thank you sincerely for your service. I look forward to working with you for a few more years. If y'all don't wear me out, you know, so or show me out, or whatever the term is, right? So but no, it's been great. It's been great. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director Sanderson. I do, I will say I've known you for several years, not in your capacity as Executive Director, but one of the things I do know is your caring, for the city of Hartford, for the residents, and trying to make sure they have a decent place to live. That is the most important thing that I really would like to thank you for, and for all your advocacy in making that happen. I know we have a lot of old structure in the city, but over the years, we're building some new ones now also. but as you are going along over the last, you said 10 to 13 years, you have also did a lot of renovations for these structures and provided a great living environment for our residents. So thank you very much for your hard work. Thank you, Mrs. Lashane, for the enthusiasm and your caring for the city of Hartford. The people like yourself and people like Ms. Shands, Mrs. Thompson, and everyone, this is a great city, and I thank you guys so very much for wanting to continue to build and make Hartford a better place to live. So thank you. Okay, so that's all I have to say, and I am open for motion.
Move to send this back to council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Motion has been properly made and second to send back the reappointment of Patty Lashane to the Housing Authority. Any questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any oppositions or any abstentions? Seeing or hearing none, the ayes have it. Mrs. Lashane, congratulations again, that you are re-upping again for another 4 to 5 more years, 5 more years. So thank you very much for wanting to do so, and congratulations, and that we will be sending this back to the council for favorable recommendation and vote for the next council meeting. And hopefully this will be done before Ned Sanders have her next board meeting. When is your next board meeting, Executive Director Sanderson?
Well, I think, so here are the logistics from what I recall in terms of onboarding new board members. So our next board meeting is actually next Tuesday, so it won't happen before then. I think what happens is that board members that are appointed to the Housing Authority Board become eligible to serve on that board. One, they have to be sworn in by the town clerk, and then they become eligible the first month after they're appointed by the city council. So I don't know what your meeting schedule is for, in terms of city council for the month, but assuming you appoint them, the full city council appoints them during the month of September. And after they're sworn in, they would be eligible to serve. A new board member would be eligible to serve as of the October board meeting.
Okay, so we have our council meeting on September 8th. So that's when we'll be voting favorably. And so Mrs. Lashane, just a reappointment. So I believe that's before your
Yeah, I don't get to escape.
No, but I will clarify, but I think Ms. Shan would become eligible to serve as of the October board meeting, but I will certainly clarify that tomorrow.
What about Mrs. Lashane?
Since she is still there, and technically you serve until your replacement has been appointed, then she can serve at next week's board meeting and would continue. There's not an issue there.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Well, our overall board meeting is council meeting will be September 8th, which is next Monday. So everything works out beautifully. Well, thank you, Mrs. Sanderson, for joining us. I really appreciate and honored that you were able to come and talk about what's going on at the Housing Authority, and speaking to the new board member, and of course, letting us know what it's like to work with Mrs. Lashane over the last, 5 years. So thank you so very much for doing so. We have no other items on the agenda to take up, and so therefore I am going to be adjourning the meeting. So good night, everyone, and please be safe.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.